Marriage coaches. Let's talk about that silent frustration that most of you have felt at some point. So, you're posting, you're pouring out your heart, your content is getting likes, shares, comments, saves, and sometimes emotional paragraphs. But when you check your calendar, nothing. No calls, no inquiries, no consistent clients. And I get it, it's very confusing. But you know that your work is life changing. But don't worry, today I'm going to show you exactly why that happens and what needs to change so the couples who engage with your content finally take that next step. Now, first and foremost, who am I? My name is Jonathan, and at my company, The Scaling Consultant, we help marriage coaches both start and scale their own offer using a proven growth system. But let's get right into the video. So let's break down some myths. So you might notice, as a marriage coach, you might get likes, comments, DMs, but you'll also notice that no one's booking any calls. It's pretty obvious that everyone loves your content, but for some odd reason, no one's reaching out. So, this is the first misconception that a lot of marriage coaches have. They think that engagement means you're going to get interested clients. But that's not true. I'm going to tell you why right now. So, here's the truth. A lot of people don't realize this, but engagement is not a buying signal. I'm going to say that again. Engagement is not a buying signal. Engagement is a resonance signal. It means your message resonates with them. However, when people engage with your content, it most likely is going to hit home for them. It's going to hit them in their feels. However, that doesn't mean that they're now ready to take action, though. We need to remember that. Because, let's be real, in this marriage niche, we have a very unique audience. And what makes them unique is that they're dealing with shame, fear, relationship tension, vulnerability, private pain. Like, the list can go on and on and on, to be honest. They're dealing with a lot of intense emotions. So, it's very easy for couples to like and engage with your content because that's simple. It doesn't require much effort. However, when it comes to admitting that they actually need help, that requires a completely separate emotional step. So, there's something no one tells you when you become a marriage coach. And it should be pretty obvious, but don't worry, I'm going to tell you right now. When you're selling this transformation, you're selling it to two people at once. Like, that should be pretty obvious. You're dealing with two decision makers. And because of this actually makes your buying environment more emotional, because now you're dealing with two sets of emotions. It makes it a little less direct. You're not convincing one in person anymore, one individual. You're not convincing two. Things might be a little slower now because you have to make sure they both get on the same page. And not only that, there's also a high dependence on trust. There's a high dependence on trust. Like, one person may be ready, but the other one might be a little hesitant. And you know what? Sometimes the one who engages isn't the one who makes the decision. That's just the reality of it. So imagine this. You end up with lots of engagement, but no action at all. So I need you to conceptualize this. Put this in your head. It's not because you're not good enough, okay? It's not because you're not good enough. It's not because your work isn't powerful. It's because you're dealing with one of the most emotionally sensitive buying process in the entire coaching industry. So, this is the most important part of this entire video. Most marriage coaches create content that help people understand their situation, but not content that helps people take the next step. And there's a huge gap between I relate to this, and I'm ready to talk to you. The difference is what I call the micro bridge, the small psychological shift that turns passive followers into active seekers. Now, this micro bridge requires three things. Just three things. The first one, emotional safety. So this one is pretty critical because people don't reach out until they feel safe being honest with you. Number two, people need to know that they have permission to ask for help because they need to feel like it's normal and acceptable to seek guidance. Like, this shouldn't feel like some type of stigma or anything of the such. Your content should have a very welcoming environment, knowing that, oh, okay, he or she is not just posting content. They also are offering help and they are willing to help. And then we have numero 3, guidance towards clarity. So this one's important because people don't book calls because they want to talk. They book because they want clarity. If your content creates awareness but not safety, if it inspires but doesn't guide, if it educates but doesn't open a door, you will always get engagement, but you're not going to get any movement whatsoever. We have to remember that people respond when they feel safe, not when they feel informed. So, what do couples need before they take any action? Well, just like I said previously, safety has to be number one. They need to know that they can even trust you. The next thing, permission. Is it okay to ask for help? Have you created content where they know that they can just come to you and ask for you to come and guide them, help them, and in their issues with their spouse? And number 3, clarity. What happens next? Your content should remove the mystery of what they should be expecting from your process. Like, they should know what results they're receiving and what they could be going through. Obviously, it changes from person to person, but it should be a general overview. And then confidence. Would this make things worse or better? They need to know that they're not wasting their time and that the investment they're about to make into you is actually going to change their lives forever. Because when people get married, they're latched up to that person forever. Or at least they're trying to be latched up to that person forever. And they want to make sure you can help them stay like that. So it's also important to take note of the potential fears that your clients could have. Like, for instance, thoughts that could be running through their head, through both of them, would be, will they be judged? Because every situation's unique and their problems to them might seem like incredibly large, but your job is to take that problem and minimize it so then they can learn how to squash it. And that's when your methods come in to do the squashing. So other things that could be, disturbing them would be, will the coach take sides? They need to know that you're going to be an impartial judge. You're essentially a mediator. And that your objective is to seek the best for both of them. They're also going to be wondering, would this be too intense for them? Because maybe they've been holding on to this tension with their spouse for such a long time. And now they're thinking, oh man, what if things that have been bottled up for years comes up to the surface? They need to know that you're a safe space that that can even be unleashed on. Again, they should know what they're getting themselves into. And does my spouse need to be ready? Because sometimes, the person who likes or engages with your content, they might be ready, but maybe their spouse isn't ready. Can you handle that situation? They might come to you and ask, how can I convince my spouse to want to do this with me? Because one person thinks there's no problems, another person might think there is a problem. How would you handle that situation? So just off of this, you can tell that even if your audience loves your content, even if they trust you, even if they admire you, they will still remain silent. Just because silence feels safer than taking a vulnerable next step. Silence just feels safer, which is why it's critical for you to be very particular and decisive of how you make your content and the message you're portraying. So, how do you create content that moves people toward action? Well, the first thing you got to do if you want consistent calls coming in every week, every month, you need to shift the way you communicate. Because a lot of marriage coaches, they think that making more content is how they're going to get more clients. When in reality, what you need to do is create more clarity-focused content. Now, why do we need clarity-focused content? The reason being is that your content needs to be able to remove fear, and it shouldn't just be giving advice. And not only that, it should also be including low-pressure invitations, which we're going to go over right after this. Your content should also be giving your audience micro breakthroughs. The reason is because if they see victory in just your free content, imagine what they're going to get when they decide to go all in on you. That is the whole purpose of nurturing, which is why your content should be guiding them, not overloading them with too much information, or a lot of unnecessary things. This should be guiding them closer and closer to want to work with you. So you also need to include soft invitation-based communication if you want to turn interest into conversations. So what does that look like? What it looks like is that you're not being too pushy. You're not being too salesy. You're just being gentle, giving consistent invitations to your audience. So you should also be creating predictable pathways that couples can follow, not a massive leap like come book a call right now. It should be simple, low pressure steps like, if you want clarity about what's actually happening in your marriage, message me privately. It's because when your message becomes helpful rather than heavy, couples tend to respond more because it's a lot less pressure and it feels more simple. All right, so here's the harsh truth. It's obvious that your audience wants your help because they engage with your content. But the thing is, they just don't know how to move forward. You're not booking calls because there's a lack of interest. The real problem is you lack a structure that's able to turn interest into clients. With proper structure, you can guide your audience to the next step. And not only that, proper structure also replaces guessing. This is how you build a predictable business model. And this is exactly what my team and I help marriage coaches build at The Scaling Consultant, without complicating your business, without adding burnout, and without making you feel salesy. So I decided to do you guys a little favor. I created a free guide that shows you how to turn engagement into clients. So if you want to get your hands on it for free, check it out at the link in the description below. And to give you guys even more free value, if you're a marriage coach who loves making content but would like to create or scale your own offer with a proven growth system, book a free strategy session with me using the link in the description below to see how we can help you scale. And don't worry, if there's not an alignment, you're still going to get your own free personalized roadmap to success. So if you guys found this video valuable, I would appreciate it if you could please like and subscribe. It's absolutely free and it will mean more to me than anything. Have a great day and I'll talk to y'all soon.